Hello children, welcome to your home school. This is your class 9 mathematics NCERT or CBSE. This your new chapter. We have seen in our introduction about axioms, what are postulates and what are the Euclid's definitions. Okay, now we are going to start our exercise. That is your exercise 2.1. So look here children, they have given 5 sub-questions. State whether they are true or false and justify your answer. First question. Only one line can pass through a point. So, do only one line can be passed through a point? No. We can draw many lines. Look here. What is a point? It is used to represent the position. Okay. So, point is a fine dot. We can draw infinitely many lines. Look here, how many lines you can draw from a single point. So not only one line, there are infinite lines can be drawn using a single point. So what's your justification? Right here, your answer, true or false, right? False. Infinite can be drawn from a point. A point means one point. Okay, let's see the second one. There are an infinite number of lines which pass through two distinct points. So let me do a two distinct points here, children. So how many lines are passing through these two distinct points? One line, right? So what did they say? There are an infinite number of lines. No, we can draw only a unique line or a one line we can draw using two distinct points. So what's your answer here? False. False. Using two distinct points, we can draw a unique line. We can draw a unique line. What's your third question? A terminated line can be produced indefinitely on both sides. What is a terminated line? It is a line segment. So observe here, this is a terminated line A and B. Terminated line will be having end points. Terminated line can be extended indefinitely. We have seen in your previous class, that is by a postulate. Postulate number 2. What you can say here, children? This, I am going to accept this statement, that is a terminated line can be produced indefinitely on both the sides. Yes. By second postulate. By postulate number 2. Fourth one. If two circles are equal, what they are saying? Suppose let's see two circles. These two circles are equal, they are saying. Yes, when they will be equal? When their circumference, radius or area, everything it should be equal. Then we can say those two circles are equal. So if two circles are equal, then their radii are equal. Will they be equal? Yes, they will be equal. Yes, they will be equal. So next, fifth one. In figure, if AB is equal to PQ, what are these? These are line segments, right? If AB is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to XY, then AB is equal to XY. How we are going to get this answer? Things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. So where you have heard this statement, children? In your axiom number 1. By this axiom, I can say this statement is true. Yes. How can you say, children? If AB is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to XY, then the things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. Therefore AB is equal to XY. See the second one, children. Give the definitions for following terms is your question. So you can see here 5 terms. What is that? Parallel lines, perpendicular lines, line segment, radius of a circle and square. So let's talk about your first term, that is parallel lines. In order to show this, I am going to show you example of 2 chalk pieces. This is a line and this is a line. But normally if I talk, it is a line segment, right? But imagine it is a line. 2 lines are parallel. Look here how they are. Are they meeting at any point? No, they are not meeting at any point. So look here, what is this definition? Lines which do not intersect anywhere are called parallel lines. These lines, if you extend indefinitely, never they meet together. Okay, so coming to your next term, perpendicular lines. See here children, this is your perpendicular line example. What is that? 2 lines are perpendicular. When they are perpendicular, making an angle 90 degree. These 2 lines make an angle 90 degree. So then they are perpendicular. See the statement here? 2 lines which are at a right angle. 2 lines which are at a right angle to each other are called perpendicular lines. So see the next one, line segment. What is a line segment? I say this is a line segment where there is an end points. Okay, this is a line segment. It is a terminated line. What is a line segment? It is a terminated line. So next term, radius of a circle. Yes, we know, right? What is the radius of a circle? So from center to it touches at any one point on the circumference of a circle. So it means 2 points, a line I can say it is a line segment. Radius is one of the line segments. See here, the length of the line segment joining the center of the circle to any point on its circumference is called its radius. This is called as radius now, and it is represented by small r. So see the last one. We know square. What is that square here, children? So let's see the square here. So let me try to show you. What is this? Imagine it is a square. What is this? It is a square. Okay, all the 4 sides are perpendicular to one another, making 90 degree an angle, and all sides will be equal. So let's see here, a quadrilateral with all the 4 sides equal and all the 4 angles of measure 90 degree each is called a square. Second one, still there are any other definitions they asked? No, enough, that definitions are enough. So let's see the third one. So what is this third one here? They have given 2 postulates here. Given any 2 distinct points A and B. So look here children, I am going to do here 2 distinct points A and B. Okay, there exists a third point C. One more point C where I have to mark here, which is in between A and B. Means this is in between A and B. So given any 2 distinct points A and B, there exists a third point C which is in between A and B. So suppose if I join these 3 points, so C is lying in between, right? So on a same straight line I am saying. Let's see one more postulate here. There exist at least 3 points. How many points here? 3 points that are not on the same line. So these are on the same line. So 3 points are there that won't be lying on a same line. Means, so let me draw this. A, B and C somewhere. A, B, C. They are not on a same line. there are 2 points and a new point is lying in between these 2 points. And here one more postulate, there are 3 points which are not lying on a same line. There are 2 conditions given here, that is 2 postulates given. So what is the question here? Do these postulates have any undefined terms? Children, do you remember what are undefined terms? Point, line and plane are undefined terms. So what we come across here? Point and a line, right? So what are the undefined terms here? Yes, do they have? Yes. What are those? Point and line are the undefined terms, right? So next question in this. Are these postulates consistent? Yes, they are consistent because we are discussing here in 2 different situations. So what you are going to say? Yes, these postulates are consistent. Are they consistent? Yes, they are consistent because we are dealing with the 2 different situations here. So third one, do they follow from Euclid's postulate? No, they won't follow from Euclid's postulates. Then what are these following from? They are following from the axiom. So what you are going to say? No. 2 distinct lines, there exists a unique line. There exists a unique line through them. This is your axiom. So once again, let's see all the 3 answers here. Do these postulates undefined terms are there in this? Yes, they are there. What are those? Point and line are the undefined terms in this 2 postulates. So next one, are these postulates consistent? Yes, they are consistent because they are dealing with the 2 different situations where A, B, C is between these 2 points. And C is not lying on a same plane. Here they are lying on a same plane. So they are consistent. So coming to your third one, do they follow from Euclid's postulate? No, they won't follow from Euclid's postulate. They are following from the axiom. What is that axiom? In 2 distinct lines, there exists a unique line which passes through them or through them, you can say. Okay, this is one of the axiom from Euclid's element. Let's see the 4th problem here. If a point C lies between 2 points A and B. So let's mark here 2 points, children. A and another point B. Okay, so a point C lies between them. So let's join these 2. And let me mark a point here, C. Okay? Such that AC is equal to BC. Do you know? AC is equal to BC. This length is equal to this length. So, then prove that AC is half of AB. Yes, we know, but we need to prove, right? How will you prove here? We are going to start a solution with the given data. What is given here? AC is equal to BC. But what I need to prove? I need to prove here AC is equal to half of AB. So consider this, children. I am going to add for these 2. Add AC on both sides. Add AC on both sides. What happens? AC plus AC. Okay. And here BC plus AC. Okay. AC plus AC is how much? 2AC. And BC plus AC is nothing but it is AB. See here, BC plus AC is nothing but a whole line. 2 parts if you add, you are going to get a whole, right? So it is AB. So now send this multiple to other side. If you send other side, it will be divided. That will be half of AB. This is the thing we need to prove, right? AC is equal to half of AB. How we are proving here? Using axiom 1. The things which are equal to the same thing. These things are equal. the things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. By this, I made to prove this one. Okay. So once again, so what did they give here? 2 points A and B. C is a point in between such that AC is equal to BC. Prove that AC is half of AB. Or they may ask you here, BC is half of AB. At that time, what you do? Add BC on both sides. Same manner, same question will be changed. That is, if they ask you to prove BC is equal to half of AB, BC is equal to AC already given. So add BC on both sides. 2BC is equal to AC plus BC, that is AB you are going to get. Then BC is equal to half of AB. Right? Same axiom we are going to prove this. So let's shift to the fifth one. In question 4, means this one only. Point C is called a midpoint, right? When they are equal, we call it as a midpoint. Okay. Of a line segment AB. Prove that every line segment has one and only one midpoint. How can you prove this? So let's take one more midpoint, right? So where shall I take? Let me take any other point here. Okay. So actually it is not here. It might be overlapping on C. So time being I have kept a dot on the line beside C. So how do we prove this? Let me take here. Anyhow we know if C is a midpoint, what do we know? AC is equal to half of AB. Okay, what is your question? Prove that every line segment has one and only one midpoint. No, I am going to consider another midpoint here. So, let me consider, mark a point D on AB such that I'll assume that is also a midpoint. Then if this is also a midpoint, what can I write? According to this, how did you write like that? AD is equal to half of AB. Now again you can remember an axiom number 1. Things which are equal to the one another are equal to the things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. By axiom 1, what can I say here? These two are equal. The things which are equal to one another are equal to same thing are equal to one another. So, by axiom number 1, things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. That is, AC is equal to AD. If you get AC is equal to AD, what happens here? AC is also equal to AD. Means these 2 points will be lying on the same point. So, for a line, there will be only one midpoint. What you are trying to show here? Any line segment, it will be having a single midpoint. So what did I do? I have marked D on AB. I have assumed one more midpoint. If C is a midpoint, what we got here? AC is equal to half of AB. If I assume D as a midpoint, what am I getting? AD is equal to half of AB. Then by axiom 1, things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. By this, I can say AC is equal to AD, whereas C and D are lying on a same point, means they are overlapping. Therefore, this line segment will have only one midpoint. Okay, let's see the sixth one, children. In figure, if AC is equal to BD, observe here, AC is equal to BD. What did they give here? AC is equal to BD it says. Then prove that AB is equal to CD. Understand the question carefully. AC is equal to BD given. But what they are asking? They are asking AB is equal to CD. You need to prove. So what is extra here? BC is extra. So in AC if you remove BC, you are going to get AB. And in BD, if you are going to remove BC, you are going to get CD. Then if you equate, you are going to get the answer. If you equate, that is only the proof what you need to prove. So observe here carefully. Given AC is equal to BD. To prove AB is equal to CD. So now let me take the given data AC is equal to BD again. So now I am going to subtract. What I am going to subtract here? BC. Subtract BC on both sides. AC minus BC is equal to BD minus BC. Hold on, you remember something. What is that? Axiom number 3. What is that one? If equals are subtracted from equals, then the reminders are equal. So that what you are going to get in AC, if you remove BC, you are going to left with AB. And in BD, if you are going to remove BC, you are going to left with CD. That is only the one you need to prove. So by how you are proving this one? By your axiom 3. What is that axiom? If equals are subtracted from the equals, then the reminders are equal. Write the statement here, children. Okay. So let's see the 7th one. What is the 7th one? Y is axiom 5 in the list of Euclid's axioms. What is axiom 5 here? A whole is greater than a part. So, a whole is always greater than a part. Okay, what is this axiom 5? In this list of Euclid's axiom considered as a universal truth. Why? Why means it is a truth. It is a fact. Not only one example. We can take many examples. See here, this is a whole, right? If I break into piece. So before this is a whole. This is a small part of it. Whole is always greater than the small part. So it is a universal truth. No need of any other explanation for it. Okay, it is a fact. We can say many examples for this axiom. What is this axiom? Whole is always greater than a part. Whole is always greater than a part. With this, we are going to end our exercise. We are going to continue our next exercise also. Yes, let's see the next exercise. We have in this exercise only 2 problems. Let's start your problem here. So first one, how would you rewrite Euclid's 5th postulate so that it would be easier to understand? So what is Euclid's 5th postulate, children? If a straight line is falling on 2 lines, okay, if a line is falling on 2 lines, what happens here? The angle, the interior angles, sum is less than 180. When they will be 180, children? When these lines, when they intersect, then it makes the sum of these 2 interior angles 180. If a line falling on 2 lines, if a line falling on 2 lines or 2 distinct lines, then the interior angles between them is less than 180. Why? You can see those might be acute, or less than 180 or less than 2 right angles is your definition. Then what these angles must be? More than 180. These are less than 180 and these expands like this, then these will be more than 180. So what is the question here? How would you rewrite this postulate so that it could be easier to understand? 2 distinct intersecting lines cannot be parallel for the same line. Let's write here. 2 distinct intersecting lines cannot be parallel to the same line. Okay, with this statement we can understand two distinct intersecting lines means these two lines are intersecting, right? Two distinct intersecting lines cannot be parallel for the same line. They can never be parallel. They are intersecting at one point. If they are not intersecting, then those lines will be parallel. So let's see the second question here. Does Euclid's fifth postulate imply the existence of parallel lines? Does it implies? Yes. Suppose if there are two lines and then straight line which is falling on a two lines, if this makes an angle, these interior angles of one side sum is 180. So look here children, if this is a line L, okay, if there are 2 points, okay, a line falls on a 2 points intersecting at M and N, right? Then if these two angles are, sum is 2 right angles, that means these two angles, angle M plus angle N is equal to 180 degrees, then what can we say? Then those two lines are parallel. By Euclid's fifth postulate, what we can say, if they are meeting, they form intersecting lines. If they meet two right angles, they form a parallel lines. Then I can say these two lines are parallel. Okay children, with this we are going to end our session. Our introduction to Euclid's geometry, that is your second chapter. Okay, with this we are going to end our session. In our next session we are going to meet with another new chapter. Until that, keep watching. Thank you all.